in this on end. This motor here is out of a Kawasaki KE 175. We've got our oil pump underneath this cover here. We've got our clutches underneath here. We've got our Kickstarter gear here. You can see it's written there. Here's our sight glass for our engine oil, and here's our full fill cap here. It also tells you the amount of oil that it holds, 0.7 liters. So not even 3/4 of a quart of oil is what this is going to take. Now we're going to go through, we're going to loosen up all of these screws around the outside here, these bolts, and they are a larger Phillips screw. A GIS is what they are officially called, and they take a very, very large screwdriver. Okay, we've got all those bolts out of there. We're going to go ahead and remove them at this time. I've got the 2 bolts off of the oil pump cover here. We're going to remove that. That's all it takes to remove that. You can see there we've got our cable that's going to run down here. It's going to fit into this butterfly. That cable's going to run down there. We've got a couple oil lines that are going to run through there, through these ports up top here. So make sure that you remove those hoses if they have not been removed already, so that you can pull this oil pump off of here. A lot of times if people put on their the block off kit, basically so they can pre-mix their oil as opposed to relying on this oil pump, then a lot of times those hoses are going to be removed already. If that's the case, you do want to block off these ports here so that your dirt and debris isn't getting down into this oil pump housing cover here. And then we've got the screw to remove there. We can pull this oil pump off. Now you can see there that oil pump, if either one of these tabs breaks off, it's going to create quite an issue there. Underneath of this area here is an O-ring. There's also one that sits right in there. That's got a little rubber O-ring that seals that up. Those need to be in good working condition. You want to make sure that you get those replaced if you're tearing into this bottom end here. We've got one more bolt here we're going to remove, and our clutch cover is going to be ready to come off of there. We've got an arm right here. A lot of times you're going to take and actually turn this arm that's up top here, and a lot of times that'll lift that up. That'll break that gasket free. So we're able to do that and pull up on this clutch cover here. You've got your Kickstarter seal here that a lot of times will kind of hold you up, so you wiggle that, should be able to pull you right out of there. So there is underneath of our clutch cover there. There's our sight glass window, the back side of it. Here is your release arm, or your push rod for your clutch, so that'll engage and disengage your clutch. So when you pull that clutch lever on the left-hand side there up by your handlebars, that's going to push your lever that way, which will be forward, and that is going to push your arm out. That's going to disengage your clutch. So if this is not adjusted properly, you will have some issues there. So you've got some adjustment on your clutch there, that if it's not disengaging all the way, then you're going to back that off, so that when you let off of the clutch lever up at the handlebars, there's going to be more pressure on your plates down here. Now if you turn that the other direction and engage your clutch quicker, you're going to actually pull that lever this way. That's actually going to push in on the plate here, and that's going to disengage your clutches quicker. Or if you adjust it too far, it's going to leave a gap in between these friction plates here, the friction and the steel, and your clutch is not going to be engaging all the way when you are running. So you want to make sure you get that adjusted properly there. That's kind of the explanation on the clutch system. If you've got more questions on that, make sure and leave those comments below, but hope that was helpful there. Kickstarter gear here, we're going to actually have to remove our shift linkage here to remove that Kickstarter gear. So we have 6 8mm bolts here, 2, 4, 6. We're going to go ahead and remove those at this time. You got to make sure you do these in a cross pattern. So go to the other side then, loosen that completely up, because these are all putting pressure on one plate there. If you go and just do one all of the way, then there is going to be quite a bit of pressure on the other bolts there. So you want to make sure that those come out slowly, so that you're not putting all the pressure on one bolt. So remove that. We've got a bolt underneath of there. That is not the stock bolt. This one takes a 17mm to remove. Go ahead and remove that. Now what we're going to be able to do is pull this entire clutch pack off as all one unit. Now I'm going to set that down here because what I'm going to do is take and put this plate back on here, and then I'm going to tighten up these 8mm bolts so that we can keep that entire plate assembly together. Okay, once we get those bolts snugged up, now what we can do is take and remove our plate just like that. That's all our plates, steel and friction, held together there by our two inner and outer plates there. So you can take that out, inspect your clutch basket, make sure there's no major grooving. A lot of times what will happen here on these old clutch baskets is they'll get grooves in here from these plates wearing in there and constant pressure. A lot of times you'll get some major grooves in there. So you want to make sure that those are in good condition before you go back together. We can just take, and just to kind of put everything together, or keep everything together, just slide those plates and stuff back on there. Let's set that aside while we dig farther into